Hey everybody, welcome back to Whiskey Central. If you're new here, my name is Shayla, and today I'm doing a review of the bottle that my patrons voted on, which is the Aberfeldy 12. Also, just wanted to give a quick Patreon shout out to Julie Y. You may know her as a bourbon queen, a bourbillionaire, but she's a good friend of mine and one of my amazing Patreon supporters. So I covered most of the Dewar's history in my Dewar's White Label video. I'll link it in a card up here. But if you want to skip around to other parts of this video, there's timestamps in the description box below. So a quick overview, you have John Dewar and his two sons, John and Tommy, who were blending whiskey from distilleries all over Scotland. They were beginning to get popular and they wanted to have a little bit more control over their blends, so John Dewar commissioned the Aberfeldy distillery to be designed by Charles Doig. He designed over 56 distilleries in Scotland. Construction began in 1896, and in 1898 the stills were flowing. A private railway line linked the plant with the firm's operational hub in Perth, which was very convenient for the distillery. Aberfeldy closed many times during the World Wars, but in 1999 they launched their 12-year single malt, which up until that point had only been used to make blends for Dewars. The water source for Aberfeldy was the Petillie Burn, and in the 17th century there was a lot of gold there, so people would pan for gold, but of course they can't get all of it out, so basically all the whiskey from Aberfeldy has traces of gold in it. The name Aberfeldy originated from Aberfeldy, which means the mouth of the water monster. It's from Scottish folklore, suggesting that there were water monsters that would reside in rivers. Alright, so let's get into the details of this whiskey. This bottle will run you about $44, and it's owned by Bacardi or Dewar's. It's located in the Highland region of Scotland, and it's a 12-year single malt, which means that the youngest whiskey in here has been aged for at least 12 years, and it's made of 100% malted barley from a single distillery. It's aged in mostly ex-bourbon cask, but there is a little bit of sherry cask influence in here. It's 40% ABV or 80 proof, and it's colored and chill filtered. Another thing with it is that it's got a little bit of a longer fermentation, so that leads to a little bit more of a fruitier whiskey. It also has very tall pot stills. They're 16 feet tall, which that's just like more alcohol condensation happening, and that'll produce a lighter, fruitier whiskey. So I'm going to pour a dram of this, let it sit for about 10 minutes, and I'll be right back. Alright, I've let this open up for about 10 minutes. Let's go in for a nose. So you get a lot of honey on the nose. A little bit of citrus, like lemon. Yeah, more on the lemon side than the orange side. There's a little bit of floral character in there too. And then I get like, it's like an earthiness, but also kind of like mossy. So it's like a chunk of earth with like a little bit of moss over it. It sounds kind of weird, but it's like earthiness in a good way. There's a little bit of vanilla in there too. Then some fruitiness, maybe a little sherry character as well. All right, let's go on the palate. Cheers, guys. So you get that honey, quite a bit of baking spice, a little bit of black pepper, and then that earthiness comes along. There's a little bit of fruitiness as well. And then there's not like sherry flavors, but there's a little bit of a drying sherry kind of finish on the palate. And the finish is pretty long. I'd say medium to long. It's got a good mouthfeel. And it's simple, but it's really enjoyable. So I'm going to finish this dram up and I'll be right back with my recommendation. So I don't think that this is the most complex whiskey, but I think it's a great introduction to Scotch. It's nice and light, and it has a few bold notes that people who are new to whiskey should be able to pick up on. It's very friendly, and while I wouldn't buy a second bottle, it's not because I don't like this whiskey, it's only because there's so many other Scotches that I want to try, but I'm really glad I got to experience this Highland. And of course, if you like this, you'll probably enjoy almost all of Aberfeldy's core range expressions, and if you enjoy the sherry influence in this bottle, the sherry influence increases as you go up in age. And if you like the honey fruit character of this whiskey, you might like something like a Cardew 12 or a Glencairn. Thanks for joining me on this episode of Whiskey Central. Next week, I'll be reviewing either the Elijah Craig or Knob Creek. I put a Patreon poll out, but not everybody has voted yet, so I'm still not sure, but if you don't want to miss out on my next video, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, leave it a like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Damn it. Today I'm doing a fuck. Okay. We're good. We're good. Tonight. Okay, so. Hello.